A new day and a new episode of the podcast Change Your Mind, titled Free Your Mind and Stop Overthinking Everything. 2 words: pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. This statement is powerful, but it begs the question, since suffering is optional, who will choose to suffer? The answer lies in those who make drama their lifestyle and way of thinking. We must aim for less drama, especially when dealing with our experiences and struggles. To put it accurately, we need to approach each problem practically, refrain from piling problems catastrophically on top of each other, let go of self-blame and feelings of misfortune, and cease from dramatizing our life situations. In short, we need to acknowledge that we are exposed to negative events every day and not let these experiences turn into suffering. Imagine this scenario with me. You're sitting alone, perhaps at home or in a quiet place, and suddenly a thought crosses your mind. What if I'm not good enough? What if I've made mistakes in everything I've done so far? Or imagine preparing for a job interview and the night before you find yourself continuously thinking, what if I'm not the best candidate? What if I make a mistake while speaking? What if someone laughs at me? Suddenly, you feel tense and your heart may start beating faster. Negative thoughts seep into your mind, filling you with fear, and you find yourself feeling anxious and sometimes unable to sleep. Are all the thoughts that cross your mind true? We might tend to answer yes if we think about something, meaning it must be true. But what if I told you that our minds can sometimes be deceptive and easily lead us into a whirlpool of doubt, fear, and anxiety? In the book Don't Believe Everything You Think by author Joseph Nguyen, the author illustrates a life of suffering, anxiety, fear, and shaken self-confidence. Now, I will teach you how to acquire enough resilience to pull yourself out of the feeling of suffering. Let's say a thought infiltrates your mind, evoking a particular feeling. This feeling prompts you to make a decision, and that decision translates into behavior. This behavior elicits reactions from you and those around you. Your mind then analyzes these reactions, gathers data about the changes in your life, and based on this data, begins to reshape itself. So, if someone says something to you that triggers anger, this emotion may lead you to create a thought about yourself and that person. This thought propels you to take a stance, and this stance becomes a behavior. With repetition, this new pattern you've adopted becomes a lifestyle that may harm you over time, accumulating a vast stock of negative thoughts that lead you into a downward spiral. Just the act of imagining can give a sense of discomfort and suffering indeed. This is very challenging, but I have good news. You can control everything that is said to you and everything you think about. So the important advice in your life is, don't dwell on everything that is said to you, especially about you as a person. And now we will explain a simple example that strengthens the motivation to stay away from negative thoughts. Howard Schultz, a driven young man from a humble family, worked hard and dreamt of building a coffee empire. When the idea of Starbucks crystallized in his mind, there was nothing clear or certain. Yet, he had to take a bold step. He planned to gather the necessary funding and persuade people of his idea, which might have seemed silly to some, especially at a time when coffee wasn't receiving global attention. In these critical moments, negative thoughts crept into his mind. Schultz wondered, what if I fail? What if people don't believe in my idea? What if they laugh at me for days? He doubted his abilities and felt he was risking things that could lead to his failure. His mind dictated the worst-case scenarios and imagined multiple possibilities of failure. But he made a brave decision, not to believe every doubt that crossed his mind. Instead of surrendering to these thoughts, he chose to treat them as passing guests, not truths about himself or his abilities. He started asking himself, what evidence do I have that I will fail? Are there logical reasons that make me doubt myself this way? Or is this just a natural fear of the unknown? So instead of letting these negative thoughts control him, he chose to move forward. He took the first step and then the second, gradually seeing his vision for Starbucks turn into a global reality. Let's ask ourselves, how many times have we felt doubt and feared failure simply because negative thoughts haunted us? Schultz's story reminds us that negative thoughts do not equate to reality. Your mind will test you, presenting you with the worst-case scenarios, but in the end, you decide what to believe and what to dismiss. Imagine if Schultz had believed his negative thoughts and given up. There wouldn't be Starbucks today, and his idea wouldn't inspire millions around the world. So, remember when negative thoughts come to you, that you're not alone. Even the people who have achieved the greatest accomplishments have experienced moments of doubt and hesitation, but they chose not to believe everything they thought and decided to move forward. When negative thoughts come to you, remember that your mind can challenge you just as much as it can motivate you. Be the one in control of your thoughts and move forward towards your dreams. You are stronger than any passing doubt. This is a point for quick knowledge that I wanted to tell you about, explaining the difference between the concept of an idea and thinking according to the book, Don't Believe Everything You Think. An idea often stirs your emotions, quickly passing by, while thinking involves a deeper, ongoing engagement with yourself and your mind. Now, practically, I will explain how can you overcome excessive thinking. The key point is to scale down this thinking as much as possible. It's essential to listen to the idea or ideas that come and pass through your mind, but you must also minimize, regulate, and control your engagement with them. Have you ever heard someone tell you not to overthink? Whether they meant this or not every thought in your mind deserves to be dwelt upon extensively. You shouldn't turn every thought over and over in your mind as if you were a psychiatrist, or let the flood of emotions overwhelm you. If you were to ask me, dear listener, what should I do to avoid excessive thinking? My answer would be, do nothing. Yes, do nothing. This is the only solution for you to gain control over your mind. The solution is to remain calm and do nothing. Just observe yourself and pay attention to the disturbing thought and its various attempts to return to you in different forms. After that, redirect your focus to the simplest things around you. This is an extremely easy and vital task. How can you focus on the simplest things around you? You only need to observe the sound of the air conditioner in your room, for example, or focus on the light of the candle in your dark room. Let your mind be occupied with analyzing the flickering flame, or listen attentively to the hymns of the air conditioner. And I can tell you that one way to rid yourself of negative overthinking might be through engaging in a hobby. When you resonate fully with something, it makes me fully assert that the best gift you can give yourself is a hobby. A hobby you love. A hobby you delve into without thinking or feeling the passage of time. The purpose of the hobby is to engage in something you love, something that clears your mind, a pursuit you live with without any thoughts for a certain period every day, like drawing or swimming, until you find yourself moving without any interference from thoughts or analysis. And now this episode has ended, and I hope I was able to benefit you. Thank you for listening and reaching the end of the episode. We will return later to discuss a new topic in depth, and to keep up with all the new content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with friends so they can benefit as well.